In order to get monetized on YouTube, you need to reach 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watched hours in the last 12 months for this goal to come true. The problem is YouTube only recognizes your watch time hours in the last 12 months. In hindsight, your watch time hours can start decreasing if your videos do not perform at the rate you want them to be. As a YouTuber or a content creator, for someone who wants to get monetized, this can be extremely frustrating at times. Besides the YouTube app, there is another app that can benefit content creators called the YouTube Studio app. The app makes it faster and easier to manage your YouTube channels on the go. You can check out your latest stats, respond to comments, upload custom video thumbnail images, schedule videos, and get notifications so you can stay connected with the whole realm of YouTube from anywhere. This is great as it saves people who are on YouTube to go on their computers and check the analytics. But just like everything with technology, an overuse of it can create more harm than good. I mean, the whole point was it to make my life easier as a YouTuber, but it was creating more obstacles in creating content for myself. There is a term for all of this, and it's called the dopamine-driven feedback loop, and it's quite interesting when you actually look into it. It actually tells you how our brains work when it comes to certain things that give us pleasure. Dopamine is a feel-good chemical. It releases in your brain when we eat foods with high sugar levels, have interesting conversations that captivate us. This process gives your brain a high, which in return creates a need to repeat that behavior from which you got that dopamine through again. For example, social media is another form. People feel good when they get a lot of likes on their posts and videos. I mean, I still kind of use this dopamine-driven feedback loop here and there. Not as much as I used to in my teenage years, where I used to spend a lot of time on social media. And I used to rely a lot of my happiness on people liking my posts on Facebook, Instagram, and any other social media. Anyway, I realized that I started doing the same habit that I used to have in high school with the YouTube Studio app. I became addicted to the app, checking it every single day. And when there wasn't any expected growth on my videos, I was getting angry at the end result. I started comparing myself to other content creators and other YouTubers and started fixating on the idea on why I wasn't attaining the same goal of monetization. Now, let me just quickly clear the air and say that having a goal to get monetized is not completely detrimental or harmful for your being, but wanting that goal in an excessive manner, which is not healthy, can actually create more harm than good, and is completely contradictory to what the app offers to you as a consumer. They are telling you that this is the app that we've made for you, and you can check your analytics, you can check how many people are liking your videos, people that are commenting, people that are subscribing. But I do believe it came to a point where the negatives were overshadowing the benefits, and I had to do something about this. I decided to conduct an experiment and delete the app for a whole month, make it 30 days without the app, and see what kind of effect it would have on me. In the beginning, it was hard. I had temptations to download the app again and try to get that dopamine-driven feedback loop that I was talking about. And I actually did once. On the third day of me not having the app, I downloaded the app again, and it was such a weird feeling. It almost felt like I was disappointed in myself. I was getting controlled by this social media platform that I knew consciously wasn't making me happy, but I consciously went and downloaded the app again. After deleting this app, I had two realizations that was so important, and I had to really delete this app in order to realize these epiphanies, if you want to call it. The time that I would have spent on my app had decreased, obviously, which means my overall screen time on my phone had decreased. I noticed that every time I went on the YouTube Studio app, I would automatically be attracted to other apps. It was almost like it was a gateway to other apps. Removing the underlying app, which was the YouTube Studio app, changed my behavior, which led to me actually using my phone overall less. I calculated that my overall screen time had decreased to 45 minutes every day. And then in these 45 minutes, I actually read a book, actually went on a walk, actually had genuine conversations with people. Not saying that I wasn't doing this before, but had those extra sprinkle of 45 minutes, which just paved a way for more productivity and more ways to extract healthier dopamine outputs rather than use of social media. Which brings me back to my second point. I was much happier after deleting this app. There's this one quote that is written by Viktor Frankl that always comes to my mind. Viktor Frankl, the guy who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, which by the way, if you haven't read it, it's a great book, said that when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. I really had to realize this. I had no control if my video got 1,000 views or 10 views. Once I hit that publish button, that was it. There is not that much I could have really done about the video that I had just posted. And this is where the problem was arising. For some irrational reason, I thought I could do something, neglecting all the hard work that I had actually poured into the videos, the countless hours of making the script and color grading and filming and doing the voiceovers and editing and transitions and publishing the video was all going out of the window. Deleting the YouTube Studio app genuinely made me more carefree. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some days where I was thinking about my analytics and wondering how they were doing. Was I losing hours? Was I getting subscribers? Was I getting likes on the video that I just posted? How were my analytics doing? These all thoughts were just coming and conjuring up in my head, creating these forms of temptations. But realize this, the sooner we let go of things we cannot control, the more happier we will be. And I really had to realize this, and I'm 25 now, and I'm still struggling with this idea at times. I've accepted this kind of philosophy more so than I ever did in my early 20s, when I would say I was 21. And it takes work, it takes discipline to actually accept this kind of philosophy. But once you do, I promise you'll be so carefree. I would also say that I'm not suggesting that people, content creators especially, delete these kinds of apps that give them analytics indefinitely. See how long you can last. And maybe then even reward yourself and download the app again, but only for a short amount of time, and then delete it again. If you were thinking to delete the app, sit with the idea for a week or so. Set a timer for how long you can stay on the app for. As the days progress in your week, decrease the amount of time you would open the app, or the amount of time you set on your timer. Eventually, you'll realize that you'll start to become more resilient to the constraints of this app. And what's gonna happen is you're actually gonna feel more confident on not relying your happiness on these external outcomes and of this app. And what's beautiful is that this whole idea of incremental decretion that I've just discussed now can be also applied to other areas in your life, not just the YouTube Studio app. It can be applied to Facebook, it can apply to healthy eating, it can be applied to how many times you have caffeine a certain amount of days. And it's a beautiful philosophy that's really helped me in disciplining my being and trying to be the best version of myself I can. It wasn't healthy to extract dopamine from these kind of mediums when compared to, let's say, exercising. That's a much healthier output. It's been almost 3 months now and I haven't touched the app. I haven't had the urge to, because I've kind of been more carefree and I've actually genuinely forgotten about it. There are days, don't get me wrong, when I do have those temptations, and I probably will download the app again. I'm not saying that I've deleted it forever. Yes, my goal is still to get monetized, but I'm much happier in the content I'm creating now. I'm making videos because I want to, not because I'm trying to get my analytics to a point where I'll be satisfied with it. And when the time comes, I am faithful that monetization is something that will happen. It was my love for films that started this whole YouTube channel that I have now. And I really need to remind myself of those things. And sometimes pinch myself out of these states that aren't creating any benefits for me. I'd rather be remembered for someone who kept going in the face of adversity than someone who just completely gave up just because he wasn't getting the views he was expecting. Anyway, when will you delete the Studio app? Let me know in the comments below, guys. I'm telling you, it's changed my perspective a lot when it comes to my content journey. And I can promise you, you'll do the same for you. Thank you, guys.